Wow, what a dreadful week it has been for Tottenham Hotspur. That is 2 cups in 1 week that they have been knocked out of. And now there's only 2 competitions that they can technically go for. But, Joe, it's been a dreadful week for Spurs. You know, losing to Crystal Palace. I mean, that first half was all Palace. But the second half, with the fact that there's no Harry Kane, no Dele Alli, well, Son's on his way back after a shocking exit from South Korea against Qatar in the Asia Cup. But for Spurs, it just shows they really do miss them.
Well, yeah, they rely heavily on those players that you just mentioned, massively on Harry Kane, obviously, the England captain as well. I think that's the problem with Tottenham. They rely too much on those 3 players, Dele Alli, Son and Harry Kane. They haven't got the other players in the squad that are capable of stepping up. They haven't spent in the last transfer window. Pochettino said he wants to buy in this window, but they've still not put any deals forward in this window, whether it be a loan or permanent deal. They've still not done anything. And as Darren Bent was saying on the TV yesterday, he said Daniel Levy, the Tottenham owner, won't buy a player unless he thinks it's value for money.
Well, what I don't understand is that I was looking at the transfer gossip this morning just to see if there was any links that they had, and there's no one there either. I mean, okay, they bought Lucas Moura last summer, but that was quite a decent deal, a cheap deal. I think I don't know how much it was, but what do they need to do? Do they need another striker? Because Fernando Llorente's been given the opportunity, and I don't know if you saw him against Chelsea. Eriksen with the most beautiful ball from the right wing picks out Llorente on his own in the box, but just couldn't get to the end of it or kick it. And he showed that yesterday with a Trippier. Well, it looked like it was a shot, but it was a cross instead. All he had to do was get his foot behind it, and he couldn't.
That's the thing. They haven't got that backup striker that's good enough for the team. They got Llorente, who was at Swansea last season. Was it last season or season before? Sorry, and obviously scored goals for Swansea. But really, that's a struggling Swansea side, and he's at Tottenham. He's getting the balls played to him. He's getting it put on a plate for him, and he's not finishing. It's not good enough. If you want to play for one of the top 6 clubs in England and play in the Champions League, you've got to be finishing those chances. And obviously, he's not doing that. He's getting on as well, and he's more of a target man. He's not the runner like Harry Kane can do a bit of running and stuff. It's a bit of a strange one with Tottenham. I think their transfer policy and the fact that they've got a new stadium that's still not finished. It was supposed to be finished at the start of the season, didn't get finished. Then it was delayed till Christmas, still not finished. Now it's been delayed till March. Whether it'll be used then, I don't know. And I think that I've said this last week and in previous shows that I think they're going to end up like Arsenal, where the stadium is going to drain all the money that they have on transfers, because Arsenal haven't been able to spend, and now Arsenal are reduced to trying to buy players on loan, and nobody wants to join them on loan. So it's a bit of a bizarre one with Tottenham. And the fact that Pochettino is making comments in the week about Liverpool Football Club being out of both the League Cup and the FA Cup, and saying, they've gone on holiday for 10 days. It wasn't a holiday, it was a training camp. And he's saying, and they're put as one of the best teams in the country, along with Manchester City, but they're out of cup competitions. Well, you're both out of the cup competitions now, mate. Your overconfidence was your weakness.
I mean, what do you think's missing then? I mean, Harry Kane is out until when? At least March, April? It could be to the end of the season now. Yeah. So where are the goals going to come from? If you were Pochettino right now, Joe, and you were told you could go and sign someone, who would you think is realistic to join Tottenham between now and when the transfer window ends later on in the week?
Well, that's the question. It's who are they going to get? And obviously, January, it's more inflated than in the summer because nobody wants to let go of their stars because there's not enough time to get another one in. And then, does anyone want to join Tottenham? There was talks of Adrian Rabiot. I thought he'd already joined Barcelona, but okay. Coming out of the French papers, he was a midfielder, that Tottenham apparently decided to break the wage structure, if the rumours to be true, and offered him a deal to join the summer, but he turned around and said, I don't want to play for Tottenham Hotspur because you're not good enough.
Oh, right.
So, it's one of those. If other players are saying that, then who's going to want to join them? There's constant rumours about Real Madrid sniffing around Eriksen and Harry Kane, and Eriksen getting
he didn't even start yesterday, and you think they would have needed him yesterday.
Exactly, and Christian Eriksen getting a bit fed up apparently of the fact that Tottenham keep on bottling games. It's Spursy. It's Spursy, as I read on the internet. It's a Spursy thing because they get so far, they become cocky, they become arrogant, they think they're going to achieve things, they're bigger and better than what they are, and then they have it handed to them, let's just say, the defeat or whatever, and then they come carrying and they go, it was this person's fault, that person's fault. the club needs to take responsibility for its own actions, and it needs to actually spend money if it wants to be successful. And Daniel Levy, as the owner, should not sell their stars and then just not put the money back in. He sold Harry Kane a couple of years ago for 85 million, which was a world record fee then. And he spent it on 5 players, but each player was a maximum of £20 million and wasn't the actual quality to replace Harry Kane. And how many of them are at the club now? I think Eric Lemire. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember the rest of them.
Ericsson, I think, was in the same summer as well. But I remember Paulinho and Soldado were signed, and they were dreadful. Well, Paulinho's gone on to play for Barca and the likes, but
then he's gone back to China again to collect more
China.
money.
Yeah,
So
more pension money.
it's one of those things. They need to sort out their recruitment policy in that the department, because they have signed some gems down the years. They have, like, Christian Eriksen for £15 million was an absolute bargain. Why Liverpool didn't go for him under Brendan Rodgers,
didn't
I don't
anybody
know.
else get him? I mean, United were after him as well.
He could go in any team in the world, and apparently Levy slapped a £200 million price tag on his head, which I can't see Tottenham getting, but I could see them getting over £100 million for him
Really?
if someone come in,
Wow.
because he's that key to the
How
side.
old is he now?
I think he's in his mid to late 20s, so he's set to peak.
So he's still got, I was going to say he's worth that. I can understand.
I just say, it's like, for years as a Liverpool fan, I witnessed Liverpool reliant on Steven Gerrard for years. All right, they also had Torres that they relied on a bit, but not as much as the skipper, Steven Gerrard, who was there for 17 years of his life. Yeah, and then you had Suarez that you relied on for a bit. But as soon as Torres went, replaced him with Suarez and Carroll. Carroll didn't work out, but Suarez filled the void and helped lift some of the burden of Gerrard. But as soon as Suarez went again, and we did not replace him properly in 2014, all the burden went on the 30-something-year-old Steven Gerrard for the next season or two. And then when he went, what happened? We got Jordan Henderson as captain. The whole club fell apart. Well, I say fell apart. The lack of trust in the manager was there, under Rodgers. He wasn't quite good enough, let's be honest. We had Jordan Henderson as captain, who's still captain under Jurgen Klopp, but the team's massively improved. And we were relying on players that weren't quite good enough to make the grade. Jurgen Klopp's come in 3 years down the line, and Liverpool aren't reliant on just one player now. We've got multiple players in the team that we can rely on, and that's what it is. That's what United were like under Ferguson for years. They rely on multiple players, not just one.
Yeah.
You had in the
Different goal scorers each
2008-9 season, you had the front three of Ronaldo, Rooney, and Tevez.
Then Berbatov.
And then Berbatov come along. You'd rotate between Tevez and Berbatov, who was on the bench, who was starting.
Yeah.
And so, because you weren't going to take Rooney or Ronaldo out unless there was a massive injury or something. You rely on more than one player. But with Tottenham, it always seems to be Harry Kane mainly. And then if he's out, we'll rely on Eriksen or we'll rely on Ali, we'll rely on Son. But it's mainly all on Harry Kane. I know Harry Kane thrives under pressure. But at the end of the day, you can't just rely on one player.